of our project. And now we're focusing more on the characters versus the symbols in the story. So each of you has selected your own character, correct? Mm-hmm. We have Mamas, Ruths, and Benny's. No Walters in here, but there are Walters in first period. So what I just gave each of you is a kind of a brief description of your character and some of the scenarios and issues they're facing as they try to achieve their dreams. All right, as far as the math goes in here, we're going to be using a lot of this exponential growth models. And this is a little bit of what we talked about yesterday. I have it broken down, so it's basically like all you're doing is plug it into a formula. And then we have our linear growth models where we'll be calculating the cash flow after bills are paid so we can figure out if we can make everything happen successfully. Which means there'll be points where all the Ruths, Lenas, and Benny's will work together, and then there'll be points where you'll work together as a family so that you guys can see how are we going to achieve this goal of living in this house, being doctors, having babies, and things of that nature. Everybody understand it? Yes.
Can you stand on that side?
Okay, so like Mr. Fairley said, this is sort of like an American dream project, right? And it's interdisciplinary because Mr. Fairley just went over the math skills. You guys are doing linear equations, you're doing exponential growth, right? Mm-hmm. And then we're also incorporating, though, some reading. You've already read about these background characters, and I think the really neat thing about this project is you're all females, and you're honing in on 3 females from the same family. We've got 3 African-American females, same family, but every one of us is unique, right? They all have very different dreams. Each one of us, we're complex individuals who have different needs, different dreams, different desires. And so we're trying to figure out, is it feasible? What does feasible mean?
That's a vocabulary word.
What's feasible? I don't know if this is going to be feasible. Yes, doable. Are we going to be able, is every member of this family going to be able to achieve her dreams? That's going to be the ultimate question. So first you're going to use math to try to figure out how much will the dream cost per character. Then we're going to come back, as Mr. Fairley said, and we're going to incorporate some English skills as well. You're going to write a technical report, a recommendation report that's going to be a different kind of a writing than what we've been doing in English class. So it's not an essay. It's going to have headings and subheadings, but it's going to be really good for you because it's the kind of thing you would write in English 114 in your college class. And it's not that difficult because it's got nice headings that we're already going to branch out for you. But the first step is where you can write the report, and it's going to be a recommendation or a feasibility report. So you're going to recommend what you think this family ought to do. Are they going to be able to finance all this? But before we can get there, you've got to do the math to figure it out, right? So we're going to have you separate by character. So let's go ahead and move, if we can have the Bennies get together, the Ruths get together, and Mamas get together. And then I'll tell you what you're going to do from there. And you also need your day books, your notebooks to write in, because you're going to discuss what is it you're going to have to do to solve these problems.
All right, so line up Ruth, come over here. So Benny's. Jasmine is the mom, right? Yeah. So when Jasmine comes back, make sure you guys catch her up on how her character is going to play out in this project.
Okay, so in your day books, I want you to go ahead and put the date down, and let's put down, today's the 18th, and your title for this is Character Dreams. So you're trying to figure out, is your particular character going to get to fulfill her dreams? So Mr. Fairley he spent a lot of time giving you a lot of information to help you solve these equations and figure out if their dreams are going to be able to be financed or not. What I'd like for you to do in your day book, this will probably take about half a page. I want you to spend about 5 minutes reading carefully over what Mr. Fairley has written about your character and his instructions for solving the problems that are on there. And I want you to set up a 3-column journal entry, but you're going to write in all 3 columns. The last one's not going to be for peer response. So you're going to have 3 columns, and you're going to look at the information that Mr. Fairley gave you, read it as a group. I think it would be a good idea for you to take turns reading aloud what's on here and then digest it. So we just want reading, and then I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to time that. You probably can read this in about 3 minutes. It's not a whole lot, but there's quite a bit that he has on there. So in the first column, after we're done reading, I want you to write what math skills specifically is it going to take to solve this problem. What kind of equation are you going to have to know? Or what kinds of, he's already mentioned some vocabulary, but what math skills specifically do you think you need to solve? And each one might be slightly different. What questions do you have? So as you're reading over it, do you have any questions? Do you feel like you need more information? Do you not understand some piece of it? So you've got math skills, questions, and then over here, resources and behaviors. Are there any resources you're going to need? Are there any notes you've already had that you maybe can find or access? Are you going to need other things to help you do the math? What behaviors are you going to need to get this done? Does that make sense? So you've got skills, questions, any resources and behaviors you're going to need in your character groups to solve this. Capiche? Okay, let's take 3 minutes for you just to read aloud.
Hey, do you care if I put part 4 on the second?
You know what? Are you guys reading? No, I just lost it. Okay. To an 18-year-old, the expensive financing and loan for you down the road is that concept. But attending the school of your dreams is a concept that is very removed. In 1950, it was not uncommon for income considerably suffering from. Students play white tables at night or get a summer job to pay their tuition, room, and board. Some African Americans did not have opportunity to solve.
Occupation, STEAM.
Yeah, that's a good
To become professionals, doctors, lawyers, and teachers. You want to read?
Dreams. She wants to have a healthy baby.
We're at those
Here, the death rate was among high people, black babies, in comparison to other ethnic groups. Ruth wants to ensure her baby's delivery is perfect, but she does not have health insurance. She decided to take out a small loan to cover the medical expenses. Ruth managed to get a loan for $500 with the interest rate of 50%.
University of Tennessee.